next to something else. And maybe your idea wasn't very useful at this time, but they can connect it to something that is. And it just gives you momentum. You can keep going. Yeah. Those are the best. I love that. Abundance. Wonderful.
Yeah. And there's a sense also of cleaning out. The more we begin to clear out, it just seems to unconstipate everything else in our lives.
Totally.
I had an experience, it has been several years ago, but Linda and I have a tandem bike, and we were getting ready to go out for a ride, and I was changing socks or doing something, and as I was looking for a particular pair of socks, I couldn't find them, so I just pulled all the socks out of the drawer, dumped them on the bed so I could find it, and in about 5 minutes, I sorted threw away a bunch of, why do I even have these socks that I don't wear? They're in the way, I can't find one, so I just threw them in a bag to get rid of, put them back in the drawer, and it took me probably 3, 4, 5 minutes to do it. And I went out, and Linda went, "What have you been doing?" I said, "Well, finding socks." And she's like, "Well, okay." But for weeks, literally, Caneel, weeks later, I felt like I still had energy.
Oh yeah,
from
you're like
throwing
elated,
away,
right?
Yeah, just discarded stuff that don't need. And then I was looking for other clothes and other things and getting rid of. And the more I got rid of, and we've hit another one of those periods right now. We're getting ready to make another shift in our lives for doing some particular projects and things. And we've hit a point where let's jettison stuff. And the more that we start jettisoning things, the more energy seems to come up. So.
Oh yeah, totally. And that is so true in the creative process too. Eliminating the non-essential.
Right.
Does every single feature you have, is it needed? Is it really deeply and purely in the support of your value proposition? If not, kill it. And it's amazing how it just frees up the energy to serve that value proposition. Or, in a painting, like, do you really need that detail, this detail? Like once you can start editing, like I could write a 3-page thing.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And it will be so much better once I've cut it down to a third of a page. And I do that amount of editing all of the time. And I love Twitter for that. I love it, focusing me on just what is really, really needed right now for me to say what I need to say.
Right.
There's I feel like it's a good thing whenever you're feeling stuck on any kind of puzzling work to just go and sort a drawer. Just sort it and get rid of some stuff.
That works.
And then suddenly your brain is like, oh, I see what I didn't need. It's this. And then you take it out and suddenly you know where to go.
Absolutely. Well, I think again, we keep similar examples, but I was photographing a project many years ago of a backpacker on the Appalachian Trail. And just listening to him talk about that philosophy, how much just stuff people bring with them. And the first day, they drop about a third of it. And then the next couple of days, they drop and drop and drop and just start getting rid of stuff. And the first couple of stop points on the trail, he said, you can just walk in and pick up free boots. People just go, it's like, I don't care if I pay $300 for this cook stove or something. It weighs 3 pounds and I don't need 3 pounds on me. So they just jettison.
Is it? If you pick it all up, you're not going to finish your hike.
Right. And so people drop this stuff and then, it's that other people sometimes will come in and go, oh, I'd like to have that. And someone will just shake their head and go, yeah, you're going to drop it at the next stop because
oh my gosh,
it's weight.
Funny story about the Appalachian Trail that's very related to this. So I was about 17 years old and I did a 3-week outward bound course.
Mm-hmm.
We did all sorts, we did whitewater kayaking and rock climbing and, we did this really long solo mission where you had to sleep, camp out by yourself for 2 days, which as a teenager was, kind
of course,
a big deal. And at the beginning, we had to divvy out between, say, the 10 of us who was going to carry what. And so there were pots and pans, there were first aid kits, there was, I don't know what else, tarps, various things that we were all going to share. And one of the things that was held up, and you could volunteer for what you wanted to carry. One of the things that was held up was this flimsy little bag that looked extremely lightweight, and it was filled with trash bags. And I'm like, well, I'll take that. The best lessons of my life. I wasn't thinking ahead enough because those bags were going to become filled with our trash. And I had to carry our trash for 16 days in my own backpack. And we were doing, you don't leave any scrap.
Right.
So that was all of our food scraps were in my backpack. It was really freaking heavy and it smelled disgusting. But on day one, I was like, I just got the best deal ever. Like, I'm not carrying any pots and pans. I've just got this little lightweight plastic bag. And, teenagers are stupid, right? Like, I always think, like, okay, if I take this thing on, what is it really going to mean for me?
That is a great word picture for what is the long-term implications of carrying this baggage.
There's no such thing as a free lunch.
If people are leaving scraps, my inclination would be, oh no, Susan, you eat every drop of that because I ain't carrying that crap for you. No way. Eat it.
Eat it up.
Yeah, so I ain't carrying that weight. I'll jump back to something I thought of a moment ago are fears and obstacles. Are there any that have continued to hold you back? Anything that you're still struggling with or that you face on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, sure. I'd say, some of my biggest struggles have been I'm hypermobile, so my body is like extra super flexible, which is awesome for lots of reasons, but it also means that I have to keep in motion all the time and I can't really sit still for a long time. So it was not, I ended up having a lot of joint and back problems while I was doing my PhD, which is not uncommon. But I actually couldn't walk for a month. I had to like completely revise my life and like sell my car, get a different car, change all my furniture, scale back my work hours. And I just realized like I'm not suited for sitting at a desk all the time. And then my mission, was to figure out how do I make a living and use my assets and my degree in a way that like lets me keep moving. And I realized I like standing up. I love being at a whiteboard. I like working with other people. And so I just, I feel like I'm really finally getting there of now my work consists of almost 100% stuff I love to do. And it's in a way that like lets me stand up every hour. Right.
That's fantastic.
But so that's, that can be an obstacle if I have to travel internationally for work and, sit still for a long time. It's hard. Another one is just my tendency to take on too much. But I no longer confuse the elation of taking on too much with good intuition.
Yes.
And I think before I was making that mistake, I was confusing. It was like confusing the creativity arousal with productivity. And I know now that usually if I take on too much, it means I'm going to get in hot water with a lot of people I care about. So, and also with my own body. Like my own body is a great feedback mechanism for you are working way too hard, you're hurting yourself, and now you can't sleep at night and blah, blah, blah. So I find like my body is a really useful tool for gauging what I should take on.
And it gets heavier as it goes along.
Yes.
As you're talking about this, I just go, oh, rewind.
Totally. Oh my God. Yes.
Hello.
I didn't even put that together. You're so right. Because yeah, it's the beginnings of things for a person kind of ADHD like myself are the best times. Like I love starting stuff.
Yeah.
I love that fresh beginning period and everything is possible. I think everyone does, there's not as much to finish. And then it's the finishing that's really hard. And so actually, I've designed my consulting practice around my strengths of, I help companies kickstart their growth. I help them establish a strategy. I help create rigor. But I'm not, I have people who are on my team that do a lot of the more finishing up tactical execution, maintenance level work that has never been my strong suit. And it gives me enough variety that I can stay really engaged and on point and smart about what I'm doing. But I've seen myself burn out so many times. I'm like, it's not, I've changed careers multiple times. I know it's not that I'm picking the wrong settings. This is just how I am.
Right.
So I have to find a way to leverage my strengths to make this okay. And now, I think it works pretty well.
Well, you're already touching on this, but you're also a mom and a wife. What are some of the daily rituals that you are putting or have put in place to keep a happier, healthier home life in addition to the work balance that you are constantly trying to achieve?
What a great question. It's nice to get to talk about that. I feel like we're always like ignoring the thing that is most important of like what's happening at home.
Well, what are you working for?
I think that, yeah, I asked myself that question. I don't know. I think I'm just working for fun. I need the money, but I don't like sit there every day and think I'm working so I can put food on the table. Like I'm blessed. My husband and I both have full careers and he works in startups as well. And so that's awesome. But B, like I know that I will always be employable, but it's a matter of like how happy am I? Like, why am I staying up late and working on something that's not making me a lot of money? Like that's the question my husband asks me a lot. Why are you doing this? Well, because if this company makes it, it's going to change the world.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know why I'm working on it right now. I know I should go to bed, but I love doing what I'm doing. So I'm so lucky. But I think so that's like been the big breakthrough for me was once I had my son, which was at the kind of like the end of my tenure at the LSE. And I left. I wanted to come back to California, be close to my family. So I left London and I left academia to be back here in California and return to my love with startups. But when I had him, suddenly everything was everything was constrained. No, it is very hard to understand how little time you can have until you have a newborn baby.
Right.
I mean, I never fathomed how little time I would have. No one could imagine until you've been through it. I made matters much worse on myself because I did have him in a different country. I had him, he was 2 weeks late. We moved countries 5 weeks later. He had colic. We hadn't, it was a messy situation. This was me leaping, but I was like, well, we have no choice. We got to move. So let's go. And then it was really hard. But, the time shortage has been fantastic for me. My career has taken off. Like I am so focused. I never waste time anymore. I used to waste time all the time. I know I don't get obsessed about little things that don't matter like I used to. I just don't have the cycles for it. Like a lot of my hours I have to spend doing things that are not related to my work. And I love my work and I tend to be thinking about it a lot. So often, while I'm cooking breakfast or making lunch or whatever, I'm thinking about a conversation I need to have with the founder. Like I'm actually zooming back and I'm thinking, what really matters with that client? Like I think that they need to have this tough conversation. And I think about that. It gives me this pause where I'm not staring at a screen. And then all my working hours I feel are extremely productive. So it's been a huge breakthrough. Like I believe that motherhood is like the best thing for career women. It takes some time. It takes a lot out of you. Like things are definitely gonna not get done and fall by the wayside. And I see my reflection in the mirror right now, and like I used to never look like this. Like I always was really like pretty polished looking. But it doesn't matter. Like what matters is I'm in this conversation with you, and my son went to school happy. And these are two really good things I did with my day. So my routines, my number one routine is coffee. Like I get up, I found a coffee maker that has a timer in it. I grind my beans the night before. I have the filter and the water in there the night before. I get down there and the coffee is made. It has a dispenser where I press my cup against it and the coffee comes right out into my cup. I don't even have to like put the cup down to pour the coffee. Like it's just so fast.
It's there.
I blend some coconut oil into it with my little whisk beater thing. And that means I have just taken some time for myself. When I first had my son, I didn't have the coffee routine down. My process was way too complicated. I was making cappuccinos every morning. It was just like I didn't have time. I couldn't do it. And mommy gets moody when she doesn't have her coffee. So now, no matter what's happening, my son knows first thing we're going to do is make coffee. Other than that, I don't have too many routines anymore. I used to have extravagant routines. Before I had him, these are my favorite memories. I really miss these days. I would start my morning with a walk. I would walk for an hour through the hills and just breathe in fresh air and look at the trees and, beautiful houses and just think open-mindedly, think and let my brain wake up. and then I would go to a cafe